What's going on, everybody? I want to welcome y'all back to my channel, and today we got another special guest. We got Terrell Watson. Hey man, what's going on, y'all? So listen, man, I have a special guest on here today. Y'all understand? This is Terrell Watson, hero for the city. Man, come on, let me clap it up for Mr. Terrell. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's my dog. You know what I mean? This my brother. So listen, I'm gonna just give a quick little introduction. You know what I'm saying? This Terrell Watson. Listen, I've been knowing this dude since 2015, I think. I think it's 2015.
Yeah, about yeah, about
2015.
2015, 2014, somewhere around
Yeah,
there.
it was around there. I've been knowing you. I've been knowing you for there since there, man. This dude, man, like, when I was going through my divorce that I had back then, and man, really, like, I didn't have nobody in Kansas City, man. This man really, him and his wife opened up their house to me. I can come over there, man. Like, me and my son needed something to eat. They made sure I ate. It
Uh,
was just, and then we just bonded from that. But then when it came to the music, it was just like, we just clicked, man, when it came to music, man. And man, we did some amazing shows. He allowed me to go with him. Like, I didn't know nobody, so I started building my connections in Kansas City because of him, man. So I really appreciate you, bro. So let's get into um this interview, bro. Like, I want to start I want to start in the beginning, man. Like, just tell me a little bit about yourself, like a little bit about your childhood and where you from and your upbringing.
all right, man. Very, very, very humble beginnings. Um, Born and raised, and I was born in Monroe, Louisiana,
Hmm.
but I'm from uh, Spearsville of Louisiana. Just real, real humble beginnings. A country area, very country setting. I don't even really consider it to be country, man. Like it's the woods, man. Like the sticks, And that's where I grew up at. Mom and dad and parents. I had both of my parents up till about the age of 10, where they divorced. Always been in church from the time I can remember. My mother would take us to church, and if she couldn't take us, my grandmother on my mother's side would take us to church. And so, from a very early age, Christianity had begun to be installed in me and my brothers. And we just came from a very loving family, very coddled. So there was a lot of things that my mom just not allowed us to see and do. And my mother, how I transitioned to from Louisiana to Kansas City was because my mother, and after remarrying and everything, she saw a lot of potential in us, and she wanted to give us better opportunities to make something of ourselves. And so she didn't really see much down there where we was from, and so we took a family vote, and the majority won. And so my mother had already had two of her brothers were living in Kansas City. And so that's what we did. We moved from Louisiana to Kansas City. And from there, yeah, life sped up real fast for me. Just just when I say life sped up fast for me, I'm just saying like from the country to the city is obviously it's a very faster pace of life, number one. But then it was also a culture shock because where I come from, you didn't see a lot of what I was exposed to. I mean, I remember my first day of high school. It was wild. I was like, whoa, like it was just imagine a computer overloading with just so much hitting you at one time and just like, whoa, whoa. And to break that down even further, it was just like, I was exposed to just the world and its fullness. My mom wasn't able to really kind of, caught them because even the schools down there were different. Like like down there, like males wasn't allowed to wear braids. Uh,
Mm.
you wasn't allowed to wear sagging jeans. You wouldn't even males wouldn't even allowed to wear like earrings in their ear. I mean, it was just like a lot of like very strict rules in the South. And so when I moved to the Midwest to Kansas City, I mean, it was like the veil was lifted. I mean, girls wearing short shorts. I mean, you name it, cleavage out. I mean, I'm talking dudes, studs, earrings, tatted up, like you could braided, sagging jeans, and just it was just wild because I wasn't again, it's
Mm.
like just everything sped up, and so my mom did the best she could by keeping me in church every Sunday, no matter what, and I wasn't allowed to go to parties. She had me on a very short leash, and so I think the more she kind of tried to tame me, the more I started to kind of kick against the system
Mhm.
and started sneaking out and just really I was exposed way too much. And that led into um like me just kind of really falling away from the route that she was trying to push me, which was the church and God and all that. And I just really started to kick real heavy. And that from 16 up till about 18, I just really full fledged, just jumped into the world and just was like, hey, I know what you're saying, mom, but I'll do that later on. Like right
Mm.
now, I'm trying to live, and it's because it wasn't normal from where I'm from. It wasn't normal to see like young men serving God, and, praising the Lord and living a devoted life, for Jesus. That was something you only saw the older people do, and so I thought I had time. It was a misconception, and so I was like, okay, well, I'll do that later. But then one thing I can really heavily appreciate about Kansas City was that was the first time I had begun to see young men, serving God and like on fire, and men that had at early ages begin to realize that no, God is the answer, and Christ is the answer, and getting in the church and things like that, and actually taking it serious, and not just going because you made to go or going because you're supposed to go, but like going because you actually want to go because you know that God is the best. And so around uh 18, 19 is where I just kind of like submitted
Mhm.
and was just like, okay, like I didn't know the full, like I had been in church, so I knew what a Christian kind of supposed to look like,
Mhm.
but I didn't really know like what the fight was
Mhm.
going to be and how the devil was going to do everything to try to like keep you from like really serving. And so it didn't stick, even though I gave my life to Christ, got saved, and I did that, but I was still like functioning
In the
in the
world.
things of the world. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
Mhm.
Um, and then obviously as time went on, I believe God started to bring conviction and things like that. And then by the time I was 20, because me and Lacey got married at 21, so by the time I was like 19, 20, somewhere around there is where like my mom would never let me rest. Like even though I was out there in the world, I was doing my thing. She'd always tell me, she'd text me. She's never let up, never let up, never gave up. She would just text me stuff like, Terrell, you're not like other young men. You're not like ain't that gonna go right for you. Like God
Amen.
is already
Amen.
God has already set a path for you. Like, and so nothing you do, you're not going to be comfortable. You're not like other men. And I just, man, I ain't trying to hear that, man. Mom, leave me alone, bro. Like, I
Yeah.
ain't, but it started to stick because my life just started to down spiral in the sense of just getting in trouble and stuff like that. And I could see me tearing my life apart. Like, and I was just like, man, all right, like if I keep going this way, like I don't know where I'm going to end up or what's going to happen. And so uh, at that point, I made a conscious decision. I was dating Lacey, my girlfriend at the time,
Wife now.
before she became my wife now. And I told her, I was just like, yo, I was in jail, had a bunch of traffic tickets, a lot of stuff happening. And I just told her, I said, hey, man, look, I just want you to know, think you're a cool girl. I really like you a lot. But man, I got to straighten my life out. Like, there's a calling on my life and I knew it. And like, I'm running from God at this point. Like I'm really Jonah and God right now. And I was like, I got to get my life straightened out. This is what that consists of. And I really like you. I hope you want to do it with me. If you do, please do. And but this is the route that I'm going to go. And if you don't want to go that route, I understand, because a lot of young people, they wasn't really serving God like that. You know what I'm saying? And so I couldn't have blamed her if that's not something that she was, ready to do. But she said yes, not really understanding. I don't believe she really fully understood what that came with.
Mm-hmm.
But she said yes, and we got married, and then I just really started, like, really, really, not only uh that's when my journey really truly started, when I just really became like full-fledged Christian, like really serving, and my lifestyle started to reflect
Mm-hmm.
real change. So yeah,
Man,
but
hey,
that's
listen. Go ahead. What you gonna say?
no, so that's pretty much, a little vaguely but
A
detailed,
summary
yeah,
of
summary
of
of
all of it
kind of
of
how things
your
came to be.
childhood. Um,
Yeah.
what is that like? Because you kind of explained that it was, you kind of went once you kind of gave your life to God. What was that thing, if you don't mind sharing? Like, what was that thing in your life that happened to make you say, like, you know what, it's time for me to, I can't keep doing this no more? Because I know I had mines
Yeah,
that
yeah.
just like,
So
this is.
yeah. So it was a multitude of things. Like so obviously, when you're not saved, you're a sinner and
Mm-hmm,
you're out sinning. And
mm-hmm,
so uh not to be, too graphic, but I would be, let's just say I'd be laid up in a bed with somebody, and then like, and my mom would send me a text,
mm-hmm,
like, and I'd get that text, bro, and I'm like, oh my God. But even though you can hit the ignore button and you can dismiss, but man, when things penetrate your mind and your heart, you
mm-hmm,
can't dismiss. And I would ponder on things that she would say. And so sometimes I'd lay there and I would be like, yo, man, if I died right now, bro, I'm gonna go to hell. Like,
mm-hmm.
and that's why I do thank God. I know some people are like real scared or real weary about like people preaching hellfire and damnation and stuff like that. But I'm actually glad that I grew up in a church where they preached and talked about hellfire, bro, and like hell and like sinners going to hell, bro. Like, I'm glad, bro, because I felt like that subjected me to real, real realness of, because that's a possibility for everybody if you don't get your life right. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? And so I'm glad that that was installed in me. And so reflecting on, so that was one of the thoughts that kind of always lingered in the back of my mind. Is like, bro, if I die as a sinner, I'm gonna go to hell. That was one. And then, like I said, I started really messing up. I've never been into jail for nothing other than like my driving record, and like just multiple driving with no insurances, multiple speeding tickets,
Bless his
and
heart,
just
Lord.
like,
Bless his heart.
yeah, all of that, bro. And so because I was doing that, I never went to court on none of the stuff. I never took care of any of it, and it started to catch up with me, because at this point, like, I'm dating somebody who's I'm getting ready to marry, and want to marry and stuff, and so here she is with like everything in order, like, doing everything the right way, from from the world's perception of
Mm-hmm.
doing things the right way. And so because of that, I'm like trying to now start getting my stuff straightened out and stuff like that, so I can match what she's bringing. And so jail is not for me.
Bet.
Okay, jail is not for me. It's not for the weak.
I don't think it's
And
for nobody, to be honest,
yeah,
but
bro. But and so, bro, I when I went in that jail, because I again, thoughts had already been pondering, going to church, hearing the messages, like hearing like all these things. Like, there's got to be something really wrong if you can sit in church on a Sunday and like hear all of that word. I don't care if you saved or not, but hear all that word, hear all that just those things and then just completely walk out and ignore it. And that's I was getting to that place where the word was actually penetrating my heart. It was breaking up the roughness. It was breaking up that just, you know what I'm saying, all of that. And it was just so it was a combination of things. And when I got in jail, I was sitting there, I couldn't run. You know, when you're in the world, you got so much freedom. You can run from God a little bit. You think you can, but you can run, you can ignore, you can fill your life with different entertaining things and going out and drinking. And it's like you just kind of pushing them to the side. But when you're in jail, bro,
Mm-hmm.
you just there's nothing to block. And God's like, yeah, bro, I got you where I want you right now.
Yeah.
like, like what you gonna do? And I'm
Yeah.
sitting there and I'm thinking, and I'm just like, bro, like I knew that I was exactly where I was at the moment because I was running from God. And that's why I've always similarized myself with Jonah, because Jonah knew that God had something for him to do, but he was just like running. He was like, no, I'm not gonna do that, bro. Like, and the belly of the whale or the big fish or whatever, that was the jail cell for me. It was like God was like, no, I'm gonna sit you here until you can decide that you're gonna do it my way.
Mm-hmm.
And so right then and there, I was just like, jail ain't for me. And if I keep running, I'm gonna keep like wind up being in places like this. Nah, I'd rather serve. Plus, I don't want to go to hell. And so right then and there, bro, like no long drawn out sinner's prayer, none of that. I I just said, Lord, I'm ready. I'll do whatever you want me to do. And
So so
that was that.
so what would you tell somebody? What advice would you give somebody that's been sinning and they trying to transition, they don't know how to transition to get their life to God? Like, what would you tell that person?
I would just say we're never going to know everything, and there's going to be so much that we're just not going to know. But
Mm-hmm.
don't let what you don't know stop you from being where you need to be, because like sometimes you just got to go off of the part that you do know. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? And we do know that a life without God, you know what I'm saying, is will,
Perish.
according to what the Bible says, you're gonna perish. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And so that on what you do know alone has to be enough, you know what I'm saying, to help get you over that hump. And I don't want to scare anybody into Christianity, because there's also a loving side of God, you know what I'm saying? And just knowing that there's somebody out there that has the best plan for your life, you know what I'm saying? That he can do so much better with managing your life than what you ever could do. And so just like things like that, banking on that, and then just want to be a better person overall, like knowing that, man, like this knowledge I have could help somebody else get out of that situation that I was in. Just sharing that and being a light and walking in that, has to be enough to help a person just like really, transition. And I would say if a lot of things that we've done wrong, God can help clean, a lot of this stuff up, to be honest with you, and who don't want to be in a position to where things are clicking and things are working for you, and God is opening doors for you, and like your life is, blessed and highly favored, and you got this favor on you. And so all the things that you're trying to obtain and the routes that you're trying to go, God can help you get there way quicker,
Yeah.
you know? Because at the end of
Um.
the day, I think everybody want to be successful at the end of the day. And then like what more success is there than knowing that the creator of the universe is on your side and opening doors for you?
Yeah. It's crazy how like for us to really give our life to God, like we have to get backed into a corner where God have to show us that
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
that like we not as we don't know what we think we know.
Yeah, for sure.
He has to humble us, and
Yeah,
I wish it was easy for us to where like we just
yeah,
understood that, look, I just need to be humble and understand like, okay, God. But I think a lot of times too, especially our generation that grew up with a lot of fathers wasn't in the household.
yeah,
Thank God for praying mothers and mothers that's, doing the right thing, because if it wasn't for my
definitely.
mom the same way, like, us staying in shelters and things like that. And I remember us being
Right.
in the shelter, and she ended up praying with me and my sisters and led us to Christ. Um, when I was like, I think I was in like seventh grade, when this
Hmm.
happened. But to have that, but still, it was a component missing from a male present in my life. I know you
Absolutely.
had your father, but how was that? How was your relationship with your father um impacting you when it came to your Christian walk?
So never.
Never.
Like,
Mm,
no. So my dad, even my mom in the beginning, like, so she kind of grew up in church, um, but she wasn't practicing anything. Yeah, I think my mom started having kids. She had me when she was 16. So
mm,
she's still really a child herself, but her and my dad are married at this point. But I mean, he wasn't a Christian and he didn't go to, I don't recall him ever going to church like that. And so, like, his, he only impacted me from just like on manly things, like just going to work and taking care of your family. You know what I'm saying? That was about really it. Like, that I can remember. But like he never impacted me from a spiritual, standpoint or anything with like church or nothing like that. I didn't have no male figures or role models around me that was like in a church like that. I
mm.
didn't get any of that.
So it's funny because, but that's the thing. A lot of men, it's not all men, but a lot of men grew up, especially our generation, grew up with just a mama, and
Yeah,
no, and so who were some of your male influences growing up? Like because I know watching TV, the BTS and all the stuff, we want to be like what we saw on TV. So who were
absolutely.
some of those guys that you looked up to that was like, oh
Um,
man, I want to be them?
so in the beginning stages, I really feel like, yeah, my dad was up
Mm-hmm.
until, like that. I mean, it's like I said, they divorced when I was like 9 or 10 or something like that. And
Uh-huh.
by that point, like he really, at that point, he was pretty much absent from my life. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? But my mom did have a boyfriend that she eventually married, and but he was young, and so he really didn't know how to be a father. So I didn't really, but of course, you look up to the older guys around you and stuff like that. But then like that turns into you're kind of listening to the stuff that they're listening to, and I think that's really what the music came in at, is because like I grew up on like No Limit, you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying, and like hearing Master P and Mystical and
Louisiana.
like all them, and so I grew up hearing all to make them say and stuff like that, and then Cash Money kind of came into the picture, and so like my first favorite artist was probably Juvenile, you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying, um, and then that's my middle school days, and then and just so I'm following just like any music, any CDs that Cash Money them put out or No Limit put out, and I think like I just always rooted for like Mystical and then Juvie, and then like that just kind of you get involved in music, kind of becomes a thing, and you get involved with more music.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And then so I started getting into the Texas scene a lot, the Houston scene, a lot of those guys that were coming out of there, and started hearing like mixtape stuff, like people going in on other people's beats and stuff like that, and that really intrigued me like heavy. And so like hearing like Lil Flip them and hearing the Color Changing Click was come in there. You know what I'm saying? Just like, bro, like it was a whole different world. It was a culture shock. Like, oh, bro, these dudes is taking this dude beat and they killing it,
Mm-hmm.
and you would just try to learn. Me and my cousin we would take whatever new CDs that came out. I didn't have any money then, and so we had those the old CD players with the tapes on the front of them, and so we would put the CD player in and press
Dub
play
it.
and record it with the tape, and we would put it in our Walkman. and,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
So I'd be on the school bus. I'd be learning like 400 Degrees, Juby's album, bro. I knew that. I used to know that album almost word for word, every song, all the way through. That's how much I listened to it. You know, Master P. And I'm a child. I shouldn't be listening to ghetto though, bro.
But
Like
me too. I
400
listened to it too. So like I was like
but
11
I'm
and
listening
12.
to like I'm listening to all of that, you know, and then obviously that stuff starts to form the way young men think and act
Mhm.
and behave and stuff like that. And so, but I really feel like even though, like, man, I feel like God's hand has kind of always been on my life because even though I was listening to that stuff, I was never really like super influenced by it. Like, of course, you wanted to like the jewelry and
Mhm.
kind of dress, you know, but I never thought I was a gangster. I
Yeah,
never
for
thought
sure.
I was like some hard, like I never was like, oh yeah, I'll kill this nigga, you know what I'm saying? Or I'll like I like that just never even crossed my mind. Like it was like I knew how to keep it at the music level, even before you started to see behind the scenes of where we see today, like social media, like, oh man, this dude ain't no killer, bro. He at home with his kids. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? But that was like before that, I still was never like influenced in a way of like, you know, like, oh yeah, I want to be just like this guy. Like, you know, but I would say um the first real influence word would definitely be like I kind of transitioned from Juvenile to Lil Wayne like a bit,
Mhm.
and then like Chameleonaire. And so those two was just like as I kind of got to my late teens into adulthood, like those were the two that I think mostly heavily. I'm like, oh, like yeah, bro, I want to get into music and I want to rap too. Like just hearing their skill and their level of what they did was definitely uh, yeah, a
So
heavy influence for me.
so like speaking of Chameleon there, I know that is like like me you travel, we driving to Atlanta. This man like will play Chameleon there all the way there. Like it's just, you know, it's okay. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I have my
Yeah,
R&B tank or whatever I listen to, whatever. But you
yeah,
listen to Chameleon there. But I'm gonna ask you, I want you to tell me about your experience to be able to talk to him. And
yeah,
like tell people about that experience. Like, for you to be able to somebody that you looked up to
yeah,
rapping. It's not about his lifestyle. It was just
yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah,
a
for sure.
lyricist. And you
Yeah,
really like Chameleon there. And
I just appreciated his gift. That's what it was. It was just
it,
his talent, his gift, and just his artistry, and
mhm,
just like his creativeness around just his whole brand and what he was able to do and how he was able to do that. So that's really what it was. But yeah, no, so he had created this app called Combos where he was able to like, and this is pretty much after he's pretty much out of the game
mhm.
at this point. Like this just happened like maybe 3 or 4 years ago or
Yeah,
something
like
like that. And
20
so
2021 or 22 or something like that.
yeah, yeah. And so anyway, really it was just of course like man, idol is a heavy word. Like, so I don't really want to say idol, but just
Somebody you looked up to when it comes to music.
yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Um, but it was just he was asking a question on his app, and you was able to kind of basically respond, and so and I was in a queue where I was waiting, and I ain't gonna lie, I was very excited. Like I was very excited. It was a video call, uh, and he basically was upset about like he was in an elevator with a white lady, and she reached for her wallet or her purse or something to make sure, and it really upset him because he's like, man, here I am, like a multi-millionaire, you know, person, and for someone to still treat me like I'm just like this hood life, you know, criminal, you know, and he doesn't even look the part anymore. Like, I mean, he dresses, looks, acts like a normal guy. He hardly wears any chains or jewelry. So, because he's heavily into the tech world. But anyway, long story short, like, and so I kind of chimed in and he was just like, how do you feel about that? Has that ever happened to you and stuff like that? And so it was just really a normal conversation just about kind of where society was at and still at of today. So it was more of an intellectual, conversation, and my wife was sitting right next to me, and so I was like, and so we was just dialogue was just about, it kind of turned into about interracial dating and things like that. And he was asking me, being a black man married to a white woman, do I feel like I'm like truly my authentic self when I'm like around her family and stuff like that, or do I like transform and kind of into like somebody that's more acceptable to her family and stuff like that? I'm like, nah, bro. And she's like, absolutely not. I'm like, nah, I'm 100% me. I was like, and I've always been like that. Like, I, I, I can be around no matter what race of people I can be around and still be myself and still mesh right in. And so, but that experience it was just nice to really kind of talk to him and, or whatever. But I also went to a concert a few months back, and I got to see him in person in concert for the first time. So that was pretty dope too.
So you just went to the concert. You didn't get the chance to actually speak to him at the concert.
No.
Okay.
I was up front though, so I was pretty close. But no, I didn't. And he did a thing where he was like, "Yo, everywhere I go, I do this. I invite people who think they can rap on stage to freestyle." He was like, "Give me two people out the crowd." And my wife was like, him. And my brother, everybody around me was just like pointing at me or whatever. And everybody started, not everybody, but a lot of people was just like pointing at me, and I wouldn't go up.
Bro, come on. You had your moment.
Yeah,
You had your moment, bro. You could have did that. You could have did that and say, hey, you remember when we was on your platform? That was me.
But no, so that was a really cool experience though. Just like, but I feel like afterwards, like I came down. I was like, yeah, he's a normal human. He's just like me, just a human being.
But I didn't know you
I
did
try
all
not
that,
to
bro.
be
I'm so disappointed in you this evening. That was your
stupid.
God gave you a dough and you closed.
Probably,
but
probably.
but so let me ask you this question. Since we talking about performing and whatever, you just kind
Okay.
of brought it up. Tell me about the first time when you knew you had a gift to rap. What was that thing that made you feel like, well, I can do this? Did somebody say like, oh, well, that boy good, or you just feeling yourself and you just, you know what I mean? What was that thing?
So that's the thing, bro. Like, I never knew that I had a gift. I never knew that it was like, I've just always been a I'll try it kind of person. Like, oh yeah, I'll try it. Like kind of daredevilish, very kind of I've always been a risk taker, like very risky. Like and really I've always been a fan of music, always wanted because I could learn other people's songs and just know them word for word. And so I think that performance part came from like, like when you know somebody's song and you know it, you know what I'm saying? Like you in the car and you like whatever your favorite song is and you know it like word for word. You get into it. You like you do all the little extra everything. That's a performance. You know what I'm saying? It's a cover, but it's a performance. You know what I'm saying? And so I always had that ability, even though I would be rapping other people's songs. People be like, that's dope. And so um about 17, 18, like I'd be at school, people was trying to freestyle and I had homeboys, beatboxing on the table, making beats with the pencil and tapping on the table. And I just would try to rap and I was horrible, of course. It was trash. And but I had started drinking. And when you drink, you get more confidence, or at least I did. And so I got more confidence. And so I would stand in circles with people and I had a few beers and then
Hold on,
I just,
Taza, what you like? You
no,
know,
no, no,
well,
no, no, no.
no,
Never. I was
hold
always,
on.
I was
I never
always
seen
amped.
drunk Terrell, so
Yeah,
I
no,
don't
no.
tipsy
Drunk,
Terrell.
drunk Terrell is amped, like hype, like just very hype. Never been an angry drunk, never been a fight starter. I just would get more amped up, more hype. Just like, you know, white boy crazy.
Hey, what's
Anyway,
going on in bed? I would I would rap. Can I rap for you
Right.
guys?
So, anyways, no. So that's what led to me getting into the music freestyle. I never wrote anything before, and then I started trying to write, but I never really ever really wrote a secular song or anything. But like, me and my cousin BJ, which is our connection and how we met,
Yeah.
me and him had tried to write something. It was terrible. I had nothing, didn't know what I was doing. And so I actually started getting into music heavily was I started doing parodies. And so I was taking songs and I don't know why, but I was in church real heavy and it was just like my outlet. I was making songs about Kool-Aid, bro. Like I was taking songs like Mesmerized with Jay-Z, Ja Rule and Ashanti. I would take songs like that and I would just like rewrite them like and it would be like parody stuff. And it was catching on. Like like people at church, they were like dying. People was not dying literally, Lord forgive me, but they were just people was laughing. They wanted to hear it. And I was very good at mocking people and stuff like that. And so it transitioned to where I would use the voice of people at church and I would freestyle and I would just rap about stuff and I sounded like them. And my pastor, his sons, like some of the elders in the church, bro, like, and it just became like this mega thing where people were like all over. They wanted to hear it. They wanted to hear it. And so and that's where I started to see was like I never performed anything. I never did it. It was just like I would play it and people would, listen. And so I never performed or nothing. And then the first lady of our church, she was doing this thing where she was just like kind of like a little small showcase thing. And she was like wanted me to prepare something or whatever. And I was like, oh. And I was like, well, I can't go up there doing that kind of stuff, like Kool-Aid and mocking people. And I was like, I was like heavy into my Christianity at that point. And so obviously I had heard like Lecrae and like, stuff like that. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess I gotta write something about like God. And and I did, and it wound up being it was man, it's the first song I ever wrote. And people still to this day, like obviously like elders and people like that, but they still ask me. This song was called Off the Sideline. And I kind of made a football analogy about getting off the sideline and really getting involved in with God and stuff like that. And I did that song and I knew the words. I knew the words because I think so it was a few weeks out before the event. And so that's what gave me the confidence knowing the lyrics. Like, and if
Mhm.
you know the lyrics, the performing part, that wasn't really hard. I had spoken in front of people. I was a deacon at the time. So like I was used to being in front of people and speaking and talking and I had a very comedic kind of presence to me. So I was always doing funny stuff. So like naturally I had already worked out like nervousness and fumbling over your words and so honestly it was natural and I got up there and I did it and people was just wild like whoa like and I really appreciated that and some of the younger kids that looked up to me at the time like my youth pastors children and like my younger brothers and everyone was just blown away by it and that's what gave me the motivation because I was like, okay, well, if I can hold people's um, attention and I can influence, I probably because they was going, people would go back and learn the verses to my Kool-Aid songs, and they'd
Mhm.
come back and they'd rap that stuff to me. And so I'm like, well, if I'm going to teach them Kool-Aid verses, I might as well teach them
Mhm. Gospel.
godly stuff.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so, and that's what happened. So, and just one song after another. So mixtapes. I just would take other people's beats and I would just write my own version. And so I was like, I don't know if I wouldn't say I'm the first, but I definitely wasn't hearing nobody doing uh Christian mixtapes like at that time. So
Well,
uh
I don't really know. Besides, I think Bizzle a little bit.
yeah.
Besides
But
Bizzle, but
was Bill doing music back then? That had to be like 2000.
I heard Bizzle around 2011, 2012.
Oh yeah, I was doing it way before then. I was this would
Yeah,
have been back
but he was the first person
this would have
that
been back in this would have been back in '08.
yeah. So yeah, but I wasn't even oh eight
Yeah,
oh eight. I wasn't even really doing gospel like that. I was
yeah,
transitioning from secular
yeah,
to gospel, and I
yeah,
ain't really know how to do it. So
yeah,
yeah, I really like wasn't really in the gospel
yeah.
side of it like that then. That's when I really like
Hmm.
got started getting serious. Is in like the
Yeah.
middle of '08. Um, so with that is a dope thing. And one thing about you that like always it just it's very it just it's not a it's something I always admired about you is the fact that it's just how people gravitate to you when it
Yeah,
comes to your music. Like,
yeah.
um um
I agree.
you are very I believe that you are very lyrical. Like you got dope metaphors and stuff like that. Um, but to see your journey from like from when you started out, because I know somebody like me when I first because you seem like you started kind of late in the game when it comes to rapping
I did.
and stuff like that. But somebody like me, I started at like 17, but I was not good. Like I was like how you I was like, bro, you dope, bro, you this and that, and people
Yeah,
don't
absolutely.
realize like when I started, I was really like some people just pick stuff up and they just get it
Yeah,
and go. Me, I have to work hard at everything, but once I get it, I make it look so easy. People think I've been doing. I'm just, oh, you so gifted. My gift is
right.
that once I get it, it looks easy.
Yeah.
But I have to work harder than a lot of people. So how was that your type of thing, or was it like, or did the rapping just pick up kind of easy for you?
So I think I had a lot of preparation in growing up, like learning other people's songs all the
Mhm.
time. So that it teaches you how to kind of rap, to be honest.
Mhm.
Like learning juvenile songs, like word for word, like a little bit. And so rapping, I never really had any mentors. Like, so I think that's why it does kind of feel like I was late in it
Mhm.
because I had no training. I was like maybe a raw potential person. Like I had no training. I didn't know the science, and I just knew like what sounded good,
Mhm.
like and what kind of sounded cool. And I always freestyled, but I was a very good secular freestyler. And so when I got saved, obviously I knew I couldn't curse. I knew I couldn't say, things. And so I started over. Like when I got saved, it was like I had to tear down all that mess and just kind of rebuild
Mhm.
with the right stuff. And so I was behind, and it was very hard for me. And it's crazy because, like you said, like you work hard at it. I feel like I worked very hard at because I always felt like most of the people around me were way better than me, and so but that's what made my drive for get it because I'm like as to where some guys no offense to them, but I have watched a lot of people. They just put stuff out, like, and it's not very good. And I hate to be like that, but I mean, it's not very good. But because they're not, they're just, oh well, I'm doing it for God and just whatever, and I'm going to put it out, whatever. And I myself, uh, anything that I've ever done in life, I want to be good at it, or I don't want to do it. Like whether it be sports, whether it be video games, whether it be, whatever. So getting into music and becoming a Christian rapper is like, yeah, I know I'm doing this for God, but I also want to be good at it. Like I don't want to just because I had heard people do it and they were bad, and Like, sorry. Like, and so for me, it was kind of hard, but the more I did it, the more I practiced. And I had done mixtapes for so long. And I mean, I just did mixtapes for years because it was easy for me. And so it got harder when I had to just really start learning my own cadences, my own kind of style.
Flow.
Because really, when you're doing mixtapes, a lot of times, at least the way you're you're just changing the words, but you're still rapping how somebody else rap. Majority of the time, you still kind of really singing their hooks, their choruses, kind of the way they do. You're just changing up the words
Hmm.
or whatever. And so once I had started writing my own to my own beats, it was a challenge in the beginning. Like it was because now it's like, well, who is Terrell? Like, cause my identity, I had been kind of transforming to whoever I needed to be when I was
You was a
on.
real like chameleon. You was a
Yeah,
chameleon.
but I think it wound up helping. I think it wound up helping me ultimately in the end because it gave me range,
Hmm.
and I think it allowed me to be able to. Me and my wife was talking about that a week ago, and it was like, man, I feel like I never really truly found my lane because I can go so many different ways,
Hmm.
you know. But it kind of sucks because it's a good thing, but it's a bad thing because you never really perfect your style because you don't have a style. And so because you're just able to kind of, I can rap like this, or I can rap on this type of beat, I can rap on that type of beat, you know. And so it just kind of, you're good at a lot of things, but you're never really great at one. I think
So
that's the category I kind of fall in.
so
I think
tell, tell me about you being in a rap group. How was that experience?
it was fun, man. I was the weakest in the group. Um, so that helped me a lot because the guys that I was writing with, they all were experienced rappers. Like they was doing secular music. They had songs out. They had been freestyling and rapping, and so they were all really good. They had very good wordplay. They had good punchlines, and I was learning. But for whatever reason, it always felt like to the listeners, like in our home church, it always felt like I was on par with them. I don't know how. It had to be God because I knew I sucked compared to them.
Hey, hold on. Hey, hold on. You know how you know how like somebody be singing in church, they really don't sound good, but people
Yeah,
still feel it. They still feel the
yeah.
presence of God. So
Well,
you
see,
was
here's the
that.
thing though. I
Take
wasn't.
your time, baby. Take your time.
Yes. So yes and no, because I wasn't terrible. I
I
just
know.
wasn't as good as they were.
Yeah.
And that's what it was. Like I was good at what I could do. Um, and people actually, even though they were more skilled, mine was more heartfelt.
Yeah.
Like, and I think that's what kept me kind of in the mix. Like people would be like, bro, what they're saying is doper, but I feel more what he's saying though. It was because they were very good with their wordplay. Their skills were more sharper. They knew how to be right on the snare. And I wasn't like offbeat or nothing like that, but it was just, I don't know, bro. I said more things that people related to, and they rapped out of their skill. I rapped out of my heart.
What was the name of that group that you was in? I forgot what
Soldiers,
RPM or something like that.
soldiers for Christ.
Soldiers for Christ. Boy,
That's what it started. That's what it started as.
then it changed to RP. It changed to
It
something.
it did. So we started as Soldiers for Christ. It was me, Todd, Josh, and DJ Darnell, and then Todd. Something happened with Todd and Josh or DJ, and then people started like because it was really a church thing. It was a ministry thing.
Hmm.
The youth leaders was Soldiers for Christ, but we brought the music part to it.
Hmm.
But it was like, and so, but they wound up leaving the church, and so and leaving the group altogether. I was the last one left, still repping the Soldiers for Christ thing. And I by that point I could kind of hold my own and carry my own, and I kind of got started to like really really get good and pop through even on the lyrical side of things. And then me and Josh, because we was the only two that was like married in the group. with like kids and stuff. The other two was just like, single. And so me and him kind of reconnected because we was always like really close because we could just relate a lot more. And so me and him reconnected and we reformed the group, but he wasn't no longer going to the church either. And so we reformed the group. And this time we called it RPM, Righteously Praising Messiah. And it was me and him was kind of the two leaders. He had the studio, and I had a lot of the connections and stuff like that. Because I had by that point I was kind of traveling a little bit, going to church, doing music, and so we reformed the group. Was with a guy that he worked with, Corey, and then it was my cousin BJ, and then my son Jeremiah at the time, and that was the new RPM group. But me and Josh and Corey were kind of the leaders. The BJ and Jeremiah was just kind of because Jeremiah was in school, and I don't know what BJ was doing. He kind of, and so we reformed the group, and we actually went to Pastor Bird, and we was gonna have him kind of manage us, because by that time we had started to make headway a little bit. We was doing shows. That's when they brought Canton Jones to.
I was just about to bring that up.
Yeah, that's when they brought Canton Jones to Kansas City, and we was actually trying to get him. So by that point, we had started to get a little bit of local notoriety or whatever. But yeah, so yeah, we and then that fell through because a lot of the devil, jealousy, and just different things, and that fell through. And then everybody kind of went their separate ways, and then it was just me and Josh for a little while, and then he kind of started tiptoeing back into the world, and then it was just me. And then at that point, that's when I had by that point I was all over. Like I was church to church. I kind of was doing my own little tour at that point, and people was hearing me all over the place. Then I got invited to Rock the Lake, and that's where I met Kelly and Chris, which is how I signed my first deal.
That was gonna be my next question. I'm going down the timeline, like, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So my next question was gonna be, how was that experience? So
Man.
this is why this is the reason why I said that whole thing earlier about like I admire you, because it's just amazing out of all y'all, but God been choosing you for stuff to have
Yeah.
these experiences,
Yeah.
and for you to be able to be the one to get signed. And
Yeah.
so tell me about that experience. Like, I know you're about to go into it, but that's gonna be my next question. Tell me about that experience of you getting signed and that whole experience. Tell me about it.
Yeah. So I was fresh out of no longer doing the group stuff. At that point, I'm like, this is too hard. You're dealing with too many personalities. You're dealing with I would much rather just deal with myself. And I know, me. And so, of course, at this point, people are stopping. I'm not stopping. I'm going church to church, all over the place. I'm traveling. I'm getting booked for shows here and there, all over the place. And I got a phone call, and it was an offer. It was from Steed House Records. They live in Missouri, but their label is based out of Nashville, Tennessee, and they're a Christian company. And basically, they saw a lot of potential in me because I had been coming there for years at that point, a couple years, doing my songs, and like I was kind of a anomaly because everyone else would be like bands. I would be like the only rapper there. It was just bands and whatever. So I think I was just in the right place at the right time, and I could always shock the crowd. Like the bands go up and people would be involved, but the energy would be real low. And when I would go, it was just like it was just the energy went through the roof. Kids were engaged. At the end, when I get off stage, kids would just line up around me. They wanted to talk to me. They wanted to and I think in addition to knowing that I did have a lot of influence, I think in addition to that, they saw that like, yeah, like this guy's really marketable. Like this guy, and so they also wanted to help. So they called me with an offer, and they was like, hey, this is, we kind of want to talk to you, set up a dinner date. So I went down, me and my wife, and we sat with them, and they offered me a contract, a deal. They're an independent label, but they offered to fund like everything. I think it was ten to $15,000 signing deal or whatever. And so I took songs that I had already created, and then I kind of made some fresh ones. But and they hired the producer that produces for them and stuff like that. And man, it was magical, man, and it was amazing. I just like couldn't imagine someone thought that much about me and what I could bring to the table. And but they did, and I still didn't understand a lot of it. I just knew I was a rapper. I wanted to rap. I still didn't understand so much, but they brought that level of professionalism to me because at that time it was still recording at your buddy's studio and your buddy, Josh mixing my stuff and all this and that there. So it's like it's okay, but like I'm selling blank CDs, writing with markers on them, and just like all that, burning them CDs, and I had been doing all of that. And so when they came in, they're like, "No, we going to CD baby, like actual professional recording studio, actual professional mixing and mastering team that's gonna do all this." And great, And so we got it all done, and I think my contract was either for one album. I could have stayed longer, but what happened was uh, I got the album finished and went out, and I was doing very good. They featured me. I started headlining that show Rock the Lake every year, and Rock the Lake grew, man. I mean, you're talking maybe initially like maybe 300 to 400 people to where I think like 1,000 people or something like
More,
out
it
there
was more
maybe.
than 1,000
Uh,
people when I did it with
yeah,
you, so it was big
yeah.
pop.
I mean, it grew. It was great opportunity, and people was buying the crap out of my stuff. My shirts, my CDs. People were buying it, and so that I already had the J Boy thing already going when they signed me, and so we was just kind of doing the J Boy J Girl shirts, and people was just loving it, and they was eating all it up, and then I had grown and just say in 5 months after that album had came out lyrically, I had grown so much because a lot of those songs I had kind of recycled. They was already songs that I had wrote and had been performing for a while. So he just basically took my lyrics, wrapped some beats around some of that stuff, or whatever. And so at that point, I was better and I was ready for my next project. And I'm like, yo, I'm ready to make some moves. And they're like, yeah, but you just dropped this album like 5, 6 months ago. Like, no, we need to work this album. We need to. And so they were telling me no, they didn't want to do another project. I didn't understand that. Yeah.
I was gonna get to that because we had this conversation a long time ago, right? So no,
Yep.
it's funny now because then I was with you then, and I was like, well, yeah, you know what I'm saying. But now I understand. I understand why they were telling you that.
I do too now.
I understand that, but that's the thing. Like people don't understand. Like we're gonna make mistakes, and sometimes we hungry. Like especially
Yeah.
like for somebody like me that produce people music. I do people whole albums, and it
Yep.
frustrates the crap out of me. They will push the album for like a week and don't do nothing else with it. They
Yeah.
won't do nothing else with it.
Yeah.
That's one thing I can say about Pastor Bird, Billy Bird Sr. I had him on another episode. We talked about you. But like one thing about him is we put that album out, that I Trust You album out like a year ago. And that man is still pushing it because there's
Yeah.
billions of people on this planet that have not heard your music.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
Absolutely.
I'm sitting here thinking about that because that is very interesting that they would try to get you like, no, keep pushing this. You know what I mean? You can still work on music, bro. Like to me, I was like, I don't know if they told you that. Like you can still work on music, but let's
Yeah,
push this. Like, you know
yeah,
what I'm saying?
absolutely,
I had to tell my
absolutely.
sister that. We did her album and she ready to work on new stuff. So yeah, you can do that, but you trying to do shows and you trying to perform stuff that that you're doing now when you just released the album. Do that. I know you tired of doing them already, but you need to push that.
Yeah,
Like people don't
yeah.
understand it's a business. So did the record label like teach you the business side of this thing?
Yes. And that's what they were trying to. So I did pick up on a lot,
Mm-hmm.
but I still, for me, what it came down to was okay, like I'm going other places, and don't get me wrong, I'm killing it. I'm going out, I'm doing shows with other rappers, other places, and my music is like it's on par. And I'm getting the crowds, I'm getting the reactions, but then I'm hearing some other cats, and I'm like, man, bro, he dope. Like, man, like I can do that. And so I'm wanting to kind of update because again, some of the songs were fresh, but a lot of them they were old. Like, and so I think that's what it was for me. It was like at that point, I knew lyrically I was way better than where I was at. And so I was anxious to showcase how much
The new
that,
skills.
yes, like, yeah, this is good stuff, bro. But like, I want to show my audience, like, I'm better than that now. Like, because I'm thinking the more skill I can display, the more I'm of followers, and the more I'm going to be able to like, you know. And so just and then so what they told me, they was like, and they gave me easy. I was like, well, look, you fulfilled your contract already. Like you put the one album out or whatever. Da 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 da. If you want, we can let you out of your contract. Like da 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 this, that, and the third, and no, no hard feelings or whatever, da da da. And at that time, I had met this producer by the name of Tramaine Long, and so uh,
How did you meet? How did you hear about me, bro?
so obviously we originally met through my cousin BJ, like I said, working out or whatever,
Yeah.
and so that's how we originally met. And but after that point, I think I don't know
I know how it started.
how did it start again.
So me and BJ, remember I did that song with BJ at the church.
Oh, yeah.
Did the song with BJ at the church. And that's when you was just like, bro, you know,
Help
let's
me.
work. You know what I'm saying? So it was just and then I ain't gonna lie. Like, so let me start talking about this a little bit. Then I'll let you go
Okay, go ahead.
because I will get my side of it, and then I do want to hear your side of it as well. Like, because for me, I'm in Kansas City. Like I said earlier, I don't know nobody in Kansas City. Like all my people, all my connections in Atlanta, because I'm from
Right.
Atlanta. So I'm in Kansas City. I don't know nobody. I'm going through stuff, and I'm just Bobby, tell me about you for one. And I don't even think I really heard any of your music yet. Like for real, for real. I don't think I really heard any of your music. So I think for me, you came to my house. You came to my house and I started playing my music for you. And I don't know. It was just, and this right here really we was tight like this, I think that day. That particular
Absolutely.
day. You
Absolutely.
said this to me. You said, bro, I don't care what it is, bro. I got your back.
Yep. And I
What
meant every
made you
word.
say that?
Because man, I had already been by myself. You know what I'm saying? I had already been, and it seemed like everything that I was doing was on my shoulders. And it's crazy because even though I had the label there, I felt like they didn't really truly understand what I was trying to do, what I was actually about, because I was the first rapper they ever had on their label. They mostly had dealt with like, bands, and country artists, just that sort of thing. And so like I felt like, yeah, they had my back, but I felt like they didn't know what I needed. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? And so thank you, honey. So getting with you, I felt like you knew kind of I felt like you was that next level of progression for me. And I felt like me and you was kind of in the same place where we both had this talent. Because I remember hearing your stuff and I was like, I kept asking you,
Like, why
bro,
you ain't
what you
out yet?
doing? Why you ain't put this out yet, bro? This stuff
But
is really good, you know? And so, um, and it had been a long time since I had somebody uh, that I could sharpen myself with. Because at that point, I had been by myself for like, I think maybe a year or two. I think maybe not that long. But everybody had left. Nobody else was doing music with me no more. And I just got I just I don't know. And so it was like meeting you, hearing the quality and the just the skill and the talent what you was putting out and everything. And I'm like, bro, this is somebody that I knew everything that I was doing and what you wasn't doing, but I saw what you was doing and what I wasn't doing, and I just really felt like we were like the puzzle that piece that each other needed. You know what I'm saying? To be able to help each other get, you know, to where we're ultimately both trying to go. You know what I'm saying? So that had a lot to do with it. And then just you were a genuine person on top of all of that. Like I didn't feel any like vibes like, oh yeah, this dude is a user or this dude. And then obviously the more we hang out, bro, I'm starting to see even more connections. Like, you know, we both was into like video games. We both was into like all the Dragon Ball Z stuff. You know what I'm saying? It was just like, oh, this dude really, this dude is really
movie
somebody for
head
me. You know what
quoting
I'm saying?
movies all
Yeah,
day.
close movies, you know, and then it was just like, and then it was all of that, but the most important bond, oh, bro, you was a man of God, you know what I'm saying? And so that, and it was like, you was knowledgeable in that as well. Like I felt like we was on par, you know, and so it was like all of that. It was just everything, bro. Like still to this day, and I tell Lacey this all the time. Like out of most people I know, you're probably the top of the list when it comes to like connecting on multiple things. There's like we talk about video games, we talk about music, we talk
Wrestling.
about anime, we talk about our there's God, there's family, there's everything, and I have some of that with other people, but it's not like with you. There's more strings attached. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And so and it's just crazy. And so and then, like I said, you was genuine, and I'm just like that in general. I'm a bubbly personality, and I get along with anybody. But when I see that this is someone that I can like really, really trust, and you get my all. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I felt like going back to the beginning of the interview, you talked about how me and my family was a staple for you and yours, and that's just because, bro, like I'm like that anyway. But if you're somebody that I really, really, really mess with like that, bro, you're gonna get everything out of me. You know what I'm saying? Because I want to see not me do well. I want to see the people around me do well. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's really a lot of where that hero aspect come in at. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I can be there for everybody. You know, but
Yeah. You know,
but to
you
answer
know,
your question, the getting signed to a label was an amazing experience. And I'm so grateful for Kelly and Chris. I still talk to them to this day, and I'm still connected to them
yes.
uh, because I actually may have one of my songs that I did on that album. Uh, my cousin Bobby is filming a movie right now, and he's
Shout out to
trying to.
Bobby. Shout out to
Yeah,
Bobby.
shout
Get
out to
I
Bobby.
don't
Shout
care.
out to
And
my
I want her to
cousin.
see this. Let him know,
So,
Bobby, I love you, brother.
for sure. Shout out to Cuz, man.
Yeah.
He's trying to get one of my songs from that album worked into that film. And that'd be
Mhm.
huge if he does.
Yeah.
And so I called Kelly and Chris, and I let them know what was going on. And I asked them if I needed to do anything or, whatever I needed to do. And they was like, no, not at all. Like, man, those are really good, genuine people. And it's funny because I actually doubled back and I was going to sign a group under me that I was going to sign, and I was going to do a joint
Venture.
kind of thing with them, and they gave me the approval. And I never did. I never pulled the trigger on it because at the time I felt like I was so involved in myself, and I didn't want to do that group a disjustice. So I never wound up pulling the trigger on it and stuff like that. But I did have that in the works, and even still to this day, I'm pretty sure that the relationship. I don't have too many I don't think I have any bad relationships with anybody I've ever done anything with. Like people love me and I love people, man. And that's just saying a lot. And so like I could do something with them right now, I think if I wanted to.
Yeah,
So
you
they've let me know
and
that
keep that
that
in
door is
mind.
open.
We're gonna talk about some of this stuff off air, off of this. But
But
okay, so you know, like I said, you told me, Tramaine, what are you why none of this stuff is out? You was like, bro, I'm with you. Like, you know, that meant a lot to me. Um
yeah,
and to hear you say, I ain't never heard nobody really just say that to me like that. And you meant it.
I did.
You meant it. And I'm a
Yeah.
loyal person. So like our relationship was like when you doing your stuff, we out. I said, bro, we gotta get you some clothes.
Yep,
we
you
got
did.
we gotta get you some clothes. I spent my money to make sure my bro got his clothes, or
Yeah,
vice versa. It be
yeah,
other things. It was more than the music. It was more like this.
yeah,
My brother. I want to see
yeah,
you win.
absolutely.
I want to see you. I want to
100%.
see you look good out here. We shot the video. I know people looking at me when we shot the hero video. I know people looking at me. I'm wiping the sweat off your head. I wanted you to feel like a star. Like, you know
And
what I'm saying? I wanted you to
you
feel
did.
and know that, look, bro, this is what you're supposed to be doing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because when it came to me, you made sure. Because when it was my turn, you returned the favor. So
That
so
is true.
let's get into let's get into the first album we worked on.
Okay.
So how did that come about with those songs? I think you already had some songs.
So, of course, like any artist, like you always working. You know what I'm saying? You're always like working on something.
Jubilee,
Um,
hold on. Jubilee is the name of the album, by the way, that we're talking about.
correct.
Jubilee.
Um, yeah, so I had already, because like I said, I was eager to move forward and show what I could do and all that. And so that's really I had started working on songs and working on stuff here and there. And that's really what it was. And then I felt like you I don't know what we had worked on in between that time because then I was also in the process of forming another group. Remember, it wasn't necessarily a group, but remember Amanda, Jermaine, and B
Yeah.
Wise.
Okay. Yeah. For
Yeah,
sure. Yeah. Okay. I was like, what group you talking about? But yes. Yeah.
yeah. So and it wasn't really a group, but it was more
You
of,
were just
hey,
trying to. You were just trying to help. You
I
were
was
trying to
trying
put
to
something
help
together to
them.
help. Yeah.
Yeah, like this is the route that I'm gonna go. This is the person I'm gonna use to produce my music moving forward.
Uh,
This is the route that I'm trying to go. So if you guys are looking to help get y'all self and y'all music to the next level, I feel like this is the route we need to take. And these were all my friends. Like these are people that I had kind of had, and B Wise at the time he was more of a protege than he was a friend, which we grew into being friends, but he was trying to get to where I was at that time, which really wasn't, if he really was paying attention, I really wasn't far up the street. I was literally on the next block. Amanda and Jermaine was genuine friends. I had
yeah.
kind of off and on. They had both done songs with me and done things together and stuff like that. And so I was just looking out for them and just like, yo, I think we can do something. And that's when I brought them to meet you and all that. But everyone just kind of had life, man. They had things going on. I don't think maybe everybody fully trusted you or what, because it seemed like nobody else was kind of, uh, I don't know, man. I had a head of
Was
steam.
packaging
I
all
was,
of this here
I'm
this
so
morning
sorry.
for us.
Don't know
you
I did
good.
that.
Nah, I had a head of steam, man. I was ready. I was rolling, bro. And sometimes people don't move as fast as I move. And and so I was ready to roll. So and I started bringing songs to you. I started getting them recorded and we just started working, bro. And we got the title for the album, and I was just trying to create songs to help flush that title out, bro. And you just started pushing me like I'd never been pushed before. Like nobody had ever pushed me that way. Nobody had ever tried to get the best out of me. Everyone was kind of okay with where I was at and things that I said. And you was like, nah, 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 nah. I don't like the way you said that. Say it like this. Just
Mhm.
just really producing
Yeah.
a song. You know what I'm saying? Producing me, uh, helping bring that extra level of professionalism to, not just branding. See, I felt like my label, they was great for branding. You brought the professional out of me as an artist. You know what I'm saying? Just with being in the pocket, say it like this, control your breath. Don't stop right there. And just really just molding me into what I needed to be. And because of that, man, Jubilee came out great, man. Still to this day, bro, people tell me about like how much they enjoyed that Jubilee project, you know what I'm saying? And people can see the growth from Transform to Jubilee. Man, Jubilee was just great. It really was. And I credit you, like really you and God for that. And my wife. My wife had a lot to do with pushing me as
You
well
can't
and trying to
forget Lacey.
get the depths out of me.
You can't forget
For
Lacey.
sure.
Yeah, no,
For sure.
I was gonna say this too, bro. Like it was an honor working with you on that project. And yeah, it's funny because when you gave me a CD of Transform and I listened to Transform, I'm like, okay, all right, you know what I mean. Now everybody else, but see, I'm a music head and I'm a producer,
Yeah.
so I heard potential. I
Yeah.
heard the potential. I'm like, this could have been better. Like, you know what
Yep.
I'm saying? And you
I
probably
remember
heard that when you were that's the reason why you want to do more new stuff. You know what
exactly.
I'm saying? But the thing is, a lot of people haven't heard you. So it was good for the people to hear that Transform
Yeah.
album the way they did. But when I heard you, I'm like, okay, I hear like what your wordplay was dope, all this stuff. I'm like, nah, like, yeah, nah, bro. Like, cause I was invested
Yeah.
in making sure that this album was gonna be a
Yeah.
success.
Absolutely.
Um
Absolutely.
and like I'm like, bro, we sitting here, we conversating, talking about, hey man, just try this, just try that. So a couple of songs on this project, bro. You know what I'm saying? Let's get on Hero.
Okay.
Hero. Like we shot the video for it. And I don't think, but when you did Transform, you was doing the Hero for the City type of thing yet.
I wasn't yet.
You wasn't doing it, but on this album, you started doing the Hero for the City.
Yep.
And that Hero song is so hard. And like, bro, I don't think you realize, like, for people that's watching this right now, this dude had Kansas City, like kids was loving this dude because of he had the whole gimmick, like the whole thing. Like he'll come out with the vest on, with the super with his superhero crest on the front of it, have his whole little fit on, the cape, all this stuff. I know some people may think that was corny, but
Yeah.
people loved it. Like I'm sitting there watching it, but the music was good with it. And so then it was the whole branding of this
Yeah.
superhero. Because to be honest with you, he just took what he loved from watching anime and
That's what it
wrestling
was.
and those things, and he just put what he liked into his music, but made it in a way to where it fit with God is. So like us being God's child, God's children, and we superheroes. Like,
Yeah.
and so that hero song, like that song was interesting because I like you wanted me to remake the beat. Like you really didn't want to leave the beat, but I said, but let me try to. I forgot what was the real thing, why I even had to remake the beat, but I remade the beat for it, and you were just so stuck on the original thing. So
Yeah.
that
That's
beat
what
was
it
so
was. It just,
hard, bro.
yeah, it was. It
It was
was.
hard, but you
Uh,
just like, bro,
it, I
I
think sometimes just as an artist, you know what I'm saying? Maybe not even as an artist, but like I think just sometimes like it's just hard to like let something go. I think,
mhm,
you know what I'm saying? Like, and I think still to this day, I have that problem. Like, when I'm listening to beats and I'm picking stuff,
mhm.
like, it's like, I don't know, like once I fall for that beat, it's hard to go, another direction, you know what I'm saying? And I think that's just always been hard for me. So
Nah, so man, that hero song was a dope song. Every time we go and minister that song,
yeah.
and speaking of me ministering, this man allowed me to go with him when he had shows. Now, mind you, I don't know nobody, but people was getting to know me because he was
Yep.
opening up his door, his platform for me, so
A
people could.
lot of people don't do that, man.
They don't, they don't.
A
So he
lot of
allowed
people,
it.
bro.
That yeah, and that was I
Even
appreciate you
and
for that.
you would think, bro, in the Christian in the Christian realm that if we really doing this for God, bro, and we really trying to help our brother come up, people have people have became, especially at that time, people were doorkeepers, bro.
Yeah.
Like people was really on some like if they didn't rock with you, they wouldn't do that, bro. Like,
Mhm.
and I always had an open heart. Like, bro, I don't want to just come up. I want the people around me to come up. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what it was about me and that, bro. I was just real genuine in that, and I didn't mind. I didn't. I think some people are scary, and now I have an artist. I ain't gonna say no names. It's a Christian artist, but uh, a guy that I was mentoring because I don't want to give none of it away. But a guy that I was mentoring had kind of became doing music with me. He went to this artist that he had a connection with and was trying to get uh, us on. And this guy was kind of in a he was in a bigger place than us. He was doing more shows internationally. Well, he was just traveling a lot more. He was further up the road than where we was.
Mhm.
But we did a show with this guy, and the response that, and I'm not here to compare, but the response that I got compared to the response that he got, I think that scared him. No, I can't take this dude on tour with me. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like, cause he gonna take my customers. You know what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
I think I don't care what nobody say. You can't convince me otherwise. Like,
Yeah.
like he like broke all contact. Like, nah, like didn't want us to. And I was like, oh, well, it is what it is. But I didn't have that with you. I didn't have like, and I knew you were better than me, but I didn't have that thought in my head like, oh, like
Well,
Tramaine gonna take like, oh, he gonna take my fan base. You know what I'm saying? Or he gonna like, no, like, like I don't know, bro. Just that kind of stuff don't it there is I don't know.
it's kind of hard to take something like that for you to say you thought that I was better than you. I'm not better than you. Now, it probably things that I was a little bit more seasoned in,
Yeah.
but don't mean I'm just better than you because
Okay. Fair enough.
because
But
you have we both have it. We both know
yeah,
how to get on that stage,
yeah,
minister our music, and grab the crowd,
yeah,
the audience. We know we both know how to do it, and
yeah,
so and I say this all the time. My platform is my platform. So whoever likes my music, that's who my music for. And
yep.
whoever likes your music, that's who your music's for. That's your God gave both of us a platform, and our
True.
platform just intertwines. The reason
Yeah,
why, because we on songs together. And so
yeah,
it's so funny when we talking about doing these shows and stuff because my I was just playing the background. I said, these are Terrell shows.
yeah,
I'm just here with them. I'm
yeah,
just here with them because I'm on this hooks.
yeah,
So I'm
yeah,
just here with them, like you know what I'm saying, and I'm just trying to play the background, trying to step back or whatever. I remember we went, we it's two shows, and we're gonna get back to this album though. But I want to since we talking about this, it's two shows that that I know for sure that it was. We did a bunch of shows. We did
yeah.
a lot of club shows.
We went to the clubs,
We went to the clubs and killed
killing it
it
in the clubs in Jesus'
doing our
name.
gospel. And I saw was better than not trying to be funny.
No,
I saw
no,
was
yeah.
better than majority of people that was performing.
We had to because but we was the full package. We had the performance part down. We was gravitating, pulling the crowd, and the music was good, and it was just as good as any of that secular crap that people was putting out.
Yeah,
Like you, the word for it was just undeniable,
it
bro.
was every time, every time. So the thing is, like I said, I was playing the background, and because it's like this is not about me. He's the, even though I'm an artist, but he's the artist. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't have an
Right.
album out at the time. You know what I'm saying? But it was about you. So the first one is like we went to some event, it was like at a church or whatever, and remember my voice went hoarse. I don't know if you
Yeah,
remember that.
I
My
remember
voice,
that.
my voice went hoarse. And I'm singing, and this lady, she was a vocal coach and everything, and she kind of blessed me with this, and I think I shared this with you, but she was like, man, like, yeah, she was like, yeah, man, like, you don't understand, y'all. I mean, she said, you gonna do good. And I'm like, yeah, Terrell, yeah, he gonna, yeah. She like, listen, I'm not talking about him. I'm
Right.
talking about you. Ooh, baby. She was like, ooh, baby. You guy won't let me say it, but he got some stuff for you. And I still don't know what that is. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But it let me realize, like, it was time for me to start coming out of
Yep.
my shell. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I was really just helping you. And I was
Yeah.
cool with that. You know what I'm saying? Like, but then once I put out my album, Thank You for Doing Feel So Good, we did Rock the Lake.
Yeah.
We did Rock the Lake. And that was a cool experience. And so we headlined Rock the Lake. And so
Yeah.
this is what I mean. I don't think I understand. There was a big show.
Yeah.
It was thousands of people out there. And stage lights, and it was professional.
It was.
It was professional. And he was like, "No, bro, no. Look, we're gonna do a tag team," which was still dope to this day. I was
Yeah.
like, "We only did that one time, bro. Out of all the time we
Yeah.
performed, we did that tag team thing one time.
Yeah.
We tagged each other in. All right, yo, go. You do one of your
Yeah.
songs. Like, you know what I'm saying? Um, and
And it
and
goes to show the power that God allowed me to have, you know what I'm saying, to be able to say, okay, this is a Terrell show, but I'm going to split it with my dog. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying? Like, because I want y'all to get to see what he can bring to the table, not just me. You know what I'm saying? And to be able to be like, too many people can't get booked for a show and then be like, nah, I'm gonna do, I want y'all to listen to him. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. If I could have, I would have let you do the whole thing. Like, cause it's just, bro, you know what I'm saying?
brother.
But
I ain't
go
gonna
ahead.
lie. Like that was I was on there the whole time, even though it was your
Yeah,
songs. That
yeah,
like when we were so what we were doing, we were tagging each other in. Boom. So
yeah,
he started off, then he, all right, bro, tag you it, and that what we did it every
yeah,
swap, and I do one of my songs from my album. But the thing that blessed me is you told me to do help somebody.
yeah,
I tell this story to people because that day let me know that my music really impacted people.
yeah.
So I got you on here because I tell this story to my wife or people, and like that day, like after that, when we did that song, help some, you told me to do it. I wasn't gonna do it. You
I'm
said,
the
no,
son
bro.
of somebody.
Yeah. You said, bro, do the help somebody song and do that. And so I was like, I was so because that song was so
Personal.
personal. Like, you know what I'm saying? It was tough for me to even record that song. So when I
And because
actually did it,
it puts you in a vulnerable light.
you know what's so crazy? Because they had it set up to where every time they go to the next song. And I'm like, hold on,
Mhm.
please just let me say a little bit before I do this song. They did it,
Yeah.
but I know they probably was back there steaming like, man, Trey, don't bring nobody. Because they on the time slot. They're trying to hurry up. I get it. I'm like, please let me say a couple of words before I do
Yeah.
this song. You know what I'm saying? But it was all worth it to hear that the man that owned that property out there that came to you before we left, we was in the car, and he was just like, the song that he did called Help Somebody, most of the people that went and got saved, I'm sitting there listening, I'm like, because I'm thinking that he finna say something about something that what you did. And
Yeah.
he was like, no, that song, a lot of people gave their life because of that song. But bro, if you would never told me to do that song, Like, not saying that they probably would never gave their life,
Yeah, no, absolutely.
but like,
You
you know
gotta
what I'm
have, bro.
saying?
You gotta have your finger on the pulse, man. Like you gotta know, because it's not about. It's like, if we're gonna do this, bro, we are literally doing this to help people. That's why you do it. You know what I'm saying? Like you do it because you want to see what you're doing have an effect and a change in a positive light on somebody's life. So if you're not doing it for that, then why are you doing it? Like, and so I say that to say like that's one thing I allow those small experiences. It's more personal. Like when you started getting up in probably, I could imagine 250,000 fans or 100,000 people or whatever. Like you're not really getting that, maybe for some people. But bro, I came from doing shows, 15 people, 10 people, 20 people, 30, 50 people, getting up to like 100 people. So in doing those little small shows, bro, you really get to see what people really need. You get to learn to feel the room and the atmosphere, and you get to connect. And most of the times, I really thank God, because me and you had talked about this before in doing shows. I never had a set show list. And that was out of reason. Like I always went in with a multitude of songs, and I would get there, I'd see what's going on, and then I would pick, okay, I'm gonna do this song. Because this song I know gonna speak to people. I'm gonna do this song. I never went with a preset. I never went with a preset list of songs I'm gonna do. Some of them, but I would kind of know, like, yeah, you need to do this song. You need to do that song. Like that song is gonna speak to somebody. That song is gonna touch somebody. That song may help somebody get over the hump tonight. You know what I'm saying? And I thank God for that. Instead of just going in with a preset mind, I'm doing these 5 songs right here, no matter what, I ain't changing. Yeah. Like, nah. And so you were a product of that mindset of, I'm thinking like, I'm listening to this song, like help somebody. And I'm like, that's really gonna help somebody. You know what I'm saying? Like, so if we're here to help people, we ain't here to get all these followers, these clicks, and to sell merch and all that. Like I'm grateful that that's a part of it and it comes along with it, but we're really here to help somebody. So that song I knew was going to help somebody that night. And that's why I insisted that you did that song.
All right.
So that's the training and thought behind that.
All right. So I'm going to play something, right? And I need you to, we got to talk about this song, because this particular song has been brought up in 2 other interviews.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So we finna play. Okay. I'm gonna play this song, and then I need you to talk about this song.
Okay.
All right. So.
They keep telling me I'll be alright. I'm just trying to balance everything that's in my life. I'm just trying to balance. Can't sleep cause I'm up at night. I'm just trying to balance. All I know is sacrifice. I'm just trying to balance. Balance. 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 I'm just trying to balance.
Lord, I be steady trying to show them you. They don't know what I be going through. My life an ocean I be rolling through. Going under, but I say I'm cool. This is the life that I live. This is the way that I feel. Bury my talent, my skills. Put down my sword and my shield. The city telling me it needs me. Wifey telling me she need me. Pastor telling me he need me. God, you telling me you need me. Still too busy, I'm working my 9 to 5. More like my hours are 5 to 5. Working so hard, I'm just trying to survive. But I know that it's killing my spiritual side. My flesh and my spirit, it battles inside. Hear the commotion, I watch them collide. Stay in your presence, Lord, I don't have time. Gave you one heart, but I'm losing my mind. Chew it, but I cannot swallow my pride. No, I'm not letting them seeing me cry. Cage my emotion, no, you cannot fly. I struggle to balance it, this is no lie.
They keep telling me I'll be alright. I'm just
All right. I just want to give a little sample of that. Y'all want to go hear that? Go find Terrell Watson, The Hero. Is on that album. That's the second album that me and him worked on together. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So, but that particular song right there, I had DR Stuckey on here and I had Pastor Billy Bird. They both bring up that song. You know what I'm saying? So that's, I don't even think you realize how much that song impacted people right there.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I had hoped it. Well, I had hoped it did. That's why I wrote it the way I wrote it. But I didn't. You don't always realize how much of an impact that it does have on people. Man, I credit you and my wife for that song. And the reason being is because my wife knows me, more than anybody other than God. And my wife sees the things behind the scenes that other people don't see. And so she knows, like, just the very core and inside of me, just from my intellect and just everything about me, things that I don't really share with other people or whatever. And so my wife has always been a champion, always a rode with me from day one. When it has came to my music, me doing music, just me being a man of God, she's always stood by me, always wanted to present me in the best light possible. But she really was just like, Terrell, like there's so much more. If you listen to a lot of my earlier music, a lot of my stuff, it's very surface. Like I say some clever things, I say some cool things, but I also know I got like a real kidly audience, And so I want to be plain. I want to be really, really plain. And sometimes being plain, I think it held me from digging deeper into me and to who I really am and to what my music is, I guess. Mm-hmm. And so this particular album, I really wanted people to really know what it's like to really, because man, at that time I had so many people tugging on me, like, hey, pastor, hey, bro, you are a light here at this, at this church, and we need you, man, and we, and then my wife, while she's supporting me, with my music career and let me be a giant child. Hey, honey, your children are in sports now, and hey, and we need this done around. Just the whole husband side, and I can't always go off on shows and concerts to do these things. So there's that. And my kids, they're growing up. They're not children no more. I had been dragging my children around from the time they were born, up till, that point, I had been dragging my children to every concert and show, for the most part. And then there's God, who said, I need more of your time. I need more from you, Terrell. And it was just trying to balance, all of it. It was really tough. And sometimes us as men, we like to come off very strong, very masculine, and you want people to see you at your best, never at your weakest, and that song was me letting people see, like, these are thoughts. This is what I battle with. This is what I deal with. Like, I know y'all see this guy who portrays himself as this strong-minded superhero, but bro, I struggle. And where my struggle currently at right now is me trying to balance working my job, bringing in enough income for my family, trying to be at church on time and preach and be there for my pastor, be his right-hand man. Oh, and then also make sure I'm making plenty of time getting in my word and praying and having an intimacy with God. And, sometimes whenever you're all over the place, it's like you're doing just enough in all these areas to keep everything afloat, but you're not really it's like you're just doing enough. And that's what I felt like at that point in my life. I just felt like I was just struggling, trying to balance, man. And so that song was a real reflection of what I was really dealing with at that time. And even really uh kind of still to this day a little bit, but like that's what that song was. So that's probably the most authentic and realist in a other than on Jubilee. Uh
I know
Think You
what you're
Know Me.
talking about. Thank You Know Me. Yes. Thank You Know
But
Me.
other than that, that's probably the realest you will ever get in really knowing like the man behind the music, the man behind the suit, the man behind,
Hey,
all that, the real person that you know what I'm saying, the Bruce Wayne of the Batman, the Clark Kent of the Superman, like really seeing what these people deal with outside of being, the hero and the savior of what people want you to be. So that's what that song is.
okay, so I'm gonna have to make this a part two. I'm gonna have to split this interview up to two parts. So you know what I'm saying? Because it's two.
Okay.
I'm a two. No, it's a good thing because it's 2 hours. I'm a two
Yeah.
hours.
Okay.
So, but that's what happens. That's what happened when you flow, bro, and you just talking,
Yeah.
man. And you my
Yeah.
brother, bro. Like it is what it is. Like
Yeah.
I'm always sharing my platform with my brothers.
I
You know what I'm
appreciate it,
saying?
bro. For real.
And so before we end this, I know it's a whole lot more we can talk about. Trust me, a whole lot more we can talk about. But before we end this, all right, um, for the people that's out there that do know who Terrell Watson is, and they are looking like, man, I ain't heard from Terrell. Like, what's going on? And or the people that's gonna hear this interview and they're gonna go back and listen to your music, and they're like, man, I want to go. I want to hear what they're talking about. I want to go see their performance. I want to see them minister this music.
Yeah.
I want to go to a show. Like, because I'm gonna keep it 100 now. You haven't been in the Yoski like that. You've been
Oh,
working.
years.
Yeah, man. You've been working and stuff like that, man. And I ain't gonna lie, my thing has been with all my partners. I'm trying to inspire y'all
Yeah.
to get back
Absolutely.
because sometimes I know that when you do this, you're doing it for God.
Yeah.
And you don't see the financial side of it. And I got to take care of my family. I got kids, and this is taking more from my household than it is putting it into the household. And like I said, I feel like it's time for you, bro. It's time for
I
people
believe
to
that.
it's time for people to start seeing that nice TW chain. You feel me? And the shirt. And I was looking at the shirt. I said, the dude got another t-shirt. So another thing about the dude, I know we gotta go, but this dude, merch, he taught me so much about merch because I guess he had it from being with the label. They were teaching him stuff, but this dude would sit there. I ain't never seen somebody that's like his hidden gift that people don't really know. Like if I want to know merch, come to Terrell because this man would sit there on WWE. He'll be on WWE on 2K, to WWE 2K, whatever the game it is, and sit there and create merch
Yeah. New
inside the
shirt
game
ideas.
and put the stuff on the character so he can just see how the merch look. And then he'll go back and get the shirt created for real or the hats created for real. So he got me to my merch game when I had all my Tramaine shirts with the Tramaine hats, like the real stitching inside of them, and it's like he helped me in that area. So this dude is so dope in that, bro. Like, bro, it's just time. This is the
Yeah.
time right now, and I'm speaking it, bro. Like, it is time. I don't care, bro. Like you out and work and do whatever. When you get off, get your little setup or something. I don't care. Live stream if you playing video games. I don't care. Do it, bro. Do it. You know what I'm
I
saying?
have
But
been out of
people,
I've been out of the spotlight for a while now. Like, and yeah. But
yeah,
you're not the only one. You're not the only one who's at the door knocking. Like me and Mike, 2 weeks ago, brother Mike
yeah,
Briggs,
okay. Mhm.
we had a long conversation, about an hour long on the phone. And I came out feeling very, very energized, very put back together very, very, and somebody else called me and was like, bro, I want to do an album with you. I want to, so people are, it's coming, and I've been feeling it, obviously. So I am going to get back to doing that.
Yes.
I feel like I've lived a lot of life. It's been about 4 years since I've wrote anything, since I've done anything or whatever, and I've been living a lot of life, and I feel like I got some fresh perspectives and takes on things. I think that would be really good for the next version of whatever God allows me to do.
Well, I'm
So
gonna tell you one thing. I'm working on my legendary album right now, and if people, y'all have been hearing the Be Holies and Can't Get Enough featuring Sarandon and the Holy Straps. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like, bro, I need you on the project, bro. I need you on the project. Like, I ain't had you on the project since
yeah,
the Tramaine album, when I was just going by my
yeah,
first name, not Tramaine Long. So
yeah.
yeah, man, since the Clear album. So like, bro, it's time, big dog. And people
I
need to
agree,
hear you.
and
It's
I
different.
appreciate
It's
that.
different now. It's different. We moving different. We more
Yeah,
mature. So
yeah, I
so
agree.
we were doing it by ourselves. We still kind of doing it by ourselves a little bit,
Yeah,
but we more wise. We got a whole lot more
I agree.
education behind it. And so it's
Yeah,
time, bro. A little bit more financial push to push behind this thing a little bit. So we're
absolutely.
gonna wrap it. We're gonna wrap this up. But brother, I love you. I
For
appreciate
sure.
you. Let's give it up for Terrell Watson, man, for coming on the Behind the Mic with Tramaine Long. And so by the way, man, listen, for everybody that's out there, I thank y'all for tuning in. If you got all the way through, but guess what? Like, subscribe, leave a comment, and please share this video. Please share this video with somebody you know. Man, just get this stuff out here, man. I appreciate y'all. We love y'all. Thank y'all. And God bless.